here to be legal.
Yeah. The top left. All right, I call the meeting to order. And I don't believe there's anybody here from the public online or around. So we'll jump right into the election of officers. I am happy to continue to serve as chair. It is a pleasure to do so if the rest of the members agree. That is entirely up to you all.
Need to do nominations or?
Sure, yeah, we can do nominations, yeah.
I nominate Tom Evelyn.
I will second the nomination.
Wait, I'm sorry. You have to invite them to come in order for him to second. Sorry.
That's okay. I invite any members online to participate.
You have to make a motion.
I motion to allow those that are participating virtually today to be able to vote and participate. Can I get a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
There we go.
All right, Jen. What were you saying, Jen?
I second the nomination. Thank you for being willing to serve for the 40th year in a row, Tom.
I accept your nomination humbly. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? The motion carries. Thank you all. I am looking for volunteers to be vice chair. How's Nelson County doing these days?
I would be happy to continue in my capacity as vice chair.
Well, I motion that Dylan Bishop, the director of Nelson County, be the vice chair of RTAC for 2024, 2025. Can I get a second?
Second.
Right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Congratulations.
Yeah.
Gee,
Well, first order of business, the minutes were excellent, by the way. I don't have a single comment to make to them. Does anybody have any amendments they would like to make to the minutes?
We did have one correction that was submitted via email, and that is just that David Cook needs, he's VDOT central office instead of Lynchburg. So we will get that corrected as well.
I motion to approve the minutes with the requested revision. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion. All right, we're moving along.
Trucking right along.
So review of RTAC members and alternatives. I think this is very important. I'll go ahead and start off. I will continue to come to the meetings as I can. I would like to change my alternative from Josh Gillespie, the former director of community development, to Renee Moyer, RENEE, MAWYER. And I will obviously share that email contact information and everything. We'll go down. Are your alternatives still the same, or?
Yes, Emily Ostrom will remain my alternate.
Wonderful, thank you. And I appreciate everybody taking the time to let us go through this in the meeting. It just feels like the easy way to make sure that we're all starting the fiscal year off with everybody getting the right information.
Jim, do you have anybody you'd like to put on your list?
I believe that we currently have Stephanie Golan, if I'm not mistaken. So it would remain Stephanie Golan.
Okay.
Wonderful, thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
and jump in. Whoever, does everybody want to keep who they have? Does anybody want to add anything new?
Chuck, do you want to stay the primary member for VDOT, Culpeper, and I'll be the alternate?
I mean, we can switch. Since you're down there at the meeting, it might be more convenient for you to be the main person and I can be the backup. I'll probably jump on, but I'll probably be virtual most of the time.
Okay, sounds good.
And I think the same goes for Lynchburg. Rick and I will probably stay virtual.
think that's everyone but Fluvanna and Albemarle, and I can always just follow up with them.
I would like to make your job easier, and I'd like to put this item on the next meeting agenda
Okay.
for those that were here today.
Perfect.
They will not escape. See. Sandy,
Yes.
are you gonna tell us all about Smart Scale now that we've submitted our applications?
Well, you guys already know all about Smart Scale, but I can give you guys updates.
Do you need me to share it for you?
No, I just haven't gotten the right screen.
Isn't that sometimes the hardest part? It seems like it should be easy. You're all prepared.
Or you should about to tell us how we're preparing for round 7?
So just a brief highlight for everybody to talk about a little bit why we've been saying some of the things that we've said is there have been some changes for round 5 going into round 6. We're in round 6 right now. So this, the map up here in the corner just shows the area types. So the MPO area, which is Charlottesville and portions of Albemarle County, they're category B or area type B, and everybody else is area type C. So those are the only locations I showed here. But the difference between round 5 and round 6 is that land use was changed from having some sort of baseline weighting that contributed to the project score to being converted to a multiplier. So those points were reallocated. And so for all of the land use area type C, which is everybody in this room, your projects are going to get more points for safety. It went from 25% to 30% for safety, and more points for congestion. It went from 15% to 20% of your score for congestion. And then the other big change is that the economic development methodology was changed, which is going to basically result for most people in lower economic development points across the state. So what that means for most everyone is that your projects are largely going to be evaluated and get the majority of their points probably from the safety score. So if you have locations that have had high safety needs that haven't been funded, it's more likely this time that those safety needs will boost your score up a little bit more than it has been. And also some of the projects that were being funded based on this land use score aren't likely to get as many benefits. So those are some changes that we could anticipate seeing in how your projects are scored compared to the other projects.
Have you heard anything about how we'll get a summary of that change and how it's changed scoring throughout the state? And I guess we'll know next year if that happens.
No, this is in effect for round 6.
Okay.
So this is what your scores are going to be based on now, based on the changes that they went through between rounds 5 into this round.
Do you think that we'll get an update on whether there's a noticeable change in the scoring from round 5 to round 6?
Yeah, they will do an analysis. They do an analysis after every round. I don't know. I don't know that it will be as extensive as was done between rounds 5 and 6. That was a pretty substantive update, but they will.
Okay.
But there should be some analysis that's completed afterwards.
It would be fascinating though to see how would this have scored under the
old system.
Yeah. So we look forward to putting that as an agenda item in 2025.
Sure. we could also even if they don't do that statewide, we could like to see what we might like back of the envelope. We could maybe see what we anticipate those changes would look like. So we can go through the. I had Albemarle County to start off with. They have 4 projects that they're submitting. One of the projects is within the rural area, and then 3 projects within the MPO area. Since there aren't folks from Albemarle County today, I can show you their one application in the rural area, and if anybody's interested, we can look at the other 3 projects. But this is a project that is on US 29 and Plank Road near Dr. Lewis, for those of you familiar with that area, 29. So this is a potential for safety improvement intersection that ranks number 66 in the area. And so there is a series of 3 R cuts that are going in at those 3 crossovers. The crossovers are existing. The project will include some lengthening and improving the left turn lanes in both directions at each intersection. and then also an improvement of a right turn lane. This is a preliminary cost estimate. We haven't quite finalized the cost estimate. It looks like it's about $15 million right now, but this is also uninflated, so the inflation has not been added to this yet. But this is the one project that is outside of the MPO area. And then the three projects that are within the MPO area, they're the roundabout at Old Trail Road, which is one of the entrances into the Old Trail development at Western Albemarle High School. They're doing a peanut roundabout at Hillsdale and Northfield. There are these two intersections that are really close together. They have traffic lights that are really close together. This project was identified as in one of Albemarle County's initiated corridor plans. So that's where this improvement came from.
Is there a YouTube video like there is for Zion's crossover for the peanut?
For the peanut, I don't know. Chuck, is a double roundabout listed as a separate innovative intersection design than just the traditional roundabout?
It's just a modified single lane roundabout with more legs. There's not a regular video shows them. There's not that many of them around. There are some and they vary, but no, we don't have a specific video for those.
I was just curious. I was gonna throw it on later today.
Yeah.
Peanut work.
Yeah. And then this is part of a bigger corridor study on Barracks Road near the university. So to give you a little bit of context, Emmett Street is further down this way a little bit. This is Georgetown Road. And so there's a hybrid roundabout that's going in at Georgetown Road with pedestrian crossings on both sides, a shared use path along the west or paper south side of Barracks Road. And then it would also include adding a right turn lane onto the 29-250 on-ramp right there. So we have Albemarle County as the only one here where we are still waiting on the final cost estimates on a couple of the projects, but this cost estimate has been finalized at $37.6 million. All right. So Greene County, we have two projects that are being submitted. The first one, Jim, do you want to talk about this or do you want me to give the overview?
You're welcome to talk about it if you want. It's a project that we've submitted multiple times, and we hope to get fortunate enough to have it approved this time. It's the intersection that ranks highest or worst, I guess, if you want to call it that, in the county, and that there's some elevation changes and some accidents that occur there, and we're hoping to make it safer, and we hope to get state funding to be able to do that.
So this project has been submitted in the previous rounds. The cost estimate is about $25.5 million. That's finalized. Again, the primary purpose of the study is to improve safety. So there are cuts that are going in at two crossovers right here. There's going to be a new loon or U-turn lane that's put at the north end of the project. This is 29 North. For anybody who's not able to cross due to the crossing restrictions that are put in place, they'll make a right turn out of here and go up and make a U-turn around if they need to access the other side of the road or go in the southbound direction. And then on the other end, there would be a U-turn lane down here. And just to correct me if I'm wrong, Starks Lane is an existing crossover, but the one on the north is not, correct?
Correct. Yeah, the northern U-turn would be new, and we'd be closing those two intersections. The one to the right center is where we have a significant number of accidents, and if anybody's tried to get out in that area, it's very congested. More importantly, halfway between the crossover that's turning into a restricted crossing and the northern U-turn, there's an intersection right now that is a full crossover, and that's an area filled with accidents. So this would be a big safety improvement for this area, and it would also help improve traffic flow on 29.
Yeah, I can also add, basically when we pulled the crash data for this, there's like 80 crashes on this segment of road. and 2 of them resulted in fatalities.
Questions on this?
And according to what I heard earlier, the application criteria has changed, so the rural localities are really going to get lucky this year, and we'll get fully funded.
That'll be part of the summary in 2025.
That's our hopes anyway.
I think we're hoping that some of these high need safety locations that have been close but haven't quite gotten funded will be competitive this round. And then the other project in Greene is another set of sort of access management with some closing some additional crossovers. Do you want to say anything about this one, Jim?
It's another high congested area. There are people that the speed limit slows down, but people travel pretty fast through there because it seems like an area where you can travel fast. And there's a lot of crossing traffic for an elementary school, and most of the neighborhoods that want to get out onto 33 to head west use that leftmost closed crossover. And then there's a significant senior subdivision and shopping center at the center closed crossover. Both of those create congestion and conflict, and turning this into an R cut or U-turns at the ends and closing the full length crossover reduces conflict points significantly. And again, this is the primary purpose of this is safety, and it would make a big safety improvement. It'll be great if we're able to get it funded.
This one is a little bit lower on the PSI list compared to the other project on 29. This is US 33, so the crossing at Rutgers Mill. A little bit less than that. It's a little bit lower on the PSI list, but it's still a PSI location with high safety.
And I will say, I do joke about the scoring criteria every year, but Chuck and now Sandy provide excellent service, and regardless of whether we get funding for this, we are greatly and tremendously supported by VDOT staff, and it's greatly appreciated.
And I'd like to also, as Louisa County state that we get an excellent level of service from Sandy and Chuck, and it's been a pleasure working with you all this round and past rounds. We thank you very much for all the hard work that goes into helping us submit these projects.
Yeah, we are happy to do it. Well, I won't speak for Chuck.
Chuck, since you're not there, we can't tell if you're blushing as badly as Sandy is right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, just thanks for throwing me under the bus. But yeah, I appreciate the accolades, and yeah, I'm it's part of my job. I want to be there to help you guys because I want to fix as many of these locations as we can. It helps you and it helps your community as well as it helps us. So glad to help.
Thank you.
So there were 3 locations in Louisa County, and one of the other things that you might notice as we look at the final cost estimates especially is some of these are resubmissions, and there have been some questions about the variation in the cost. Yeah. So that is standard across the board. Like we're hearing this from all the other districts as well, that the costs have increased. That there's more variation in some projects than others, but it will be interesting to see, especially for projects that are resubmissions and across the state, how consistent our cost increases.
It's not just roundabout, it's projects throughout the state.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's all projects. So the first project is US 250 and US 15 intersection improvements. Do you want to say anything about this?
Sure. Zions Crossroad is a growing area. This intersection is shared basically by Fluvanna and Louisa County. The wall is going to be built on the empty field to the left there, the roundabout. And there's a planning and development further up towards the entrance to 64. There's actually 2 unbuilt planning and developments in Zion Crossroad. Spring Creek is still building out. So you'll consider, we're going to see a consistent increase in traffic in this area. So it'd be nice to have a roundabout so that it can handle that. Especially if if you miss where you're trying to turn in, it'll be easier for you to use the roundabout than trying to turn around at the light or having to go further down to do that. So, this intersection's been submitted several times before, and I think we'll continue to submit it going forward because it's a key intersection in the county.
So this is, we can talk a second about this. This is actually a hybrid roundabout. So what you can see is that at least in one direction, there are 2 lanes right here. There's a flip lane up here in the, get oriented, northwest corner. So for vehicles that are making a right turn, they don't actually have to enter the main roundabout lane. And then, there is a 2-lane roundabout going in the eastbound direction. And the rest of it is single lane, but they do have these, split lanes on the corners of the quadrants for the right turns movements. And the final cost estimate for this project was a little under 25 million. One of the changes that we made from the previous round, correct me if I'm wrong, is we removed the, pedestrian improvements. And the reason for that is because at this time, there were not a lot of pedestrian attractions in the vicinity. So it would increase the cost of the project without necessarily having the demand to use those facilities. But the project does account for placing those in the future if that demand does arise based on development in the area.
This project also, a couple of years ago, Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission did a corridor study with Fluvanna County. And so, this is just one piece to, I think multiple solutions are needed for this area as it continues to grow.
Any questions? The next one, Louisa has a few roundabout projects going on right here.
So this is relatively high speed. This is Ferncliff. Yeah. So this is the Ferncliff exit off Interstate 64. You have a church and 2 gas stations, and there's a bit of a hill on the left-hand side going down, and there's a bit of a curve in the road on the right. So either way, you really got to look left and right quite often to cross what's a blinking light intersection, essentially right now. And so we also have the Ferncliff Industrial Park in this area. This intersection is part of the 2040 comprehensive plan, future land use map for mixed use and industrial growth. And Ferncliff exit really is your main exit to get into the town of Louisa, and for people that are coming from this area, Lake Anna often use it. So there's a need to see an improvement at this intersection. This intersection has also been submitted several times in the past.
This is a PSI rank 98, so just for comparison, Louisa County is 40. These are district ranks, so these are all being kind of lined up on top of each other, and these would all be competitive through the district grant program in the Culpeper district. The final cost estimate is about $15.6 million.
Thank you. I did not bring my glasses, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. The other thing that is happening with some of these roundabout projects, especially where there are businesses located really close to the intersections, this is also providing some access management and better defining some of these business entrances that are just kind of have open frontage along the road, which also provides some safety benefits. Any questions? No. And the last one in Louisa County?
Last roundabout. So this is at the intersection of 15 and 22, and this is a relatively high speed intersection because you have people coming down 15 about 55 miles an hour. You have people that are going from about 55 down to 35 on other directions on 22. It's just if you're driving on a rural road, which that's the feel you get from both of those roads, you're not expecting to get a traffic light at this intersection. So this intersection has also been applied for several times before. Oddly, this intersection has not ranked very well in PSI in the last couple of rounds, but it's actually got a really good ranking this year. So unfortunately, that's probably attributed to accidents at that intersection. I will tell you that the hair on my neck stands up when I drive my horse trailer through it. We're, you know, this is the third one we're submitting, and I guess it's one of the smallest of the roundabouts that we're gonna have.
Yeah, so this also includes, some pedestrian crossings at all of the legs. I think is there a church and a convenience center?
So you have Holly's Market, there's a gas station at the bottom there. And then on the left is Mama Leone Italian restaurant, which has not opened up yet. And then the north, that building has not found a use yet. And the right-hand side is an abandoned, I think, motorcycle repair shop. Or it used to be. Really, this was in a growth area back in 2019, but the growth area was, it was removed during the updated comprehensive plan. So this area is designated rural by the 2040 comprehensive plan. So it's just a matter of, really, it's a safety improvement because you have a lot of truck traffic going up and down 15 that approaching that light. So.
Question. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Carson, Nelson County.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Of our 13 projects for Smart Scale this round, we had 2 in Nelson County. We have Route 51 and Tambark Drive Roundabout and Rockfish School Lane turn lanes. Unfortunately, Rockfish School Lane was screened out due to not having a VTrans need. We tried to push with OIP as much as possible, but we had to unfortunately screen it out. But Tambark Drive has been pushed through the portal. SUPS has been validated by both the district and the applicant. And it's a simple roundabout project. It was a resubmittal in round 5 for turn lanes. However, from the new 151 corridor study, which is in the processes of being finished, it was draft was sent to us in 2023. This area called for a roundabout instead of turn lanes. So it's a singular lane roundabout with 2 sections of access management with the gas station up north and the family medicine to the south. Turn those to right in, right outs. And the final cost estimate for this project is sitting at around $12.5 million.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, I want to say thanks to Carson and Rick, and Bella. You know, they did all the work on this completely. And I know they fought really hard to get that Rockfish School Lane turn lane improvements in there. So we certainly appreciate all the work you guys have done on this. I know I couldn't handle it.
We'll see what we can do about Rockfish. We'll see if there's another way we can get it in or another funding source for it. But it's not a safety need according to the VTrans needs, and it doesn't meet the custom safety need requirements either. So they had to push it out.
Love that whippy.
Yep. Knocking our 13 to 12.
Did you guys talk about pedestrian accommodations at the intersection? Do you recall as part of the discussion?
It wasn't really in the conversation, not even for the corridor study. Rick, you might be able to answer better, but I believe the only type of pedestrian accommodation is bike traffic. But during the public input meeting, people were not necessarily in favor of any kind of pedestrian accommodations here.
I know it's come up a little bit with the already funded Route 6 and 151 roundabout. The supervisors had some questions about that, so I don't know if that has progressed at all.
No, this one makes a little bit more sense to me because there's the service station across the road and there's like the neighborhood back there. So people might, want to drop off their car and walk back, but yeah. Anything else? Well, just to give you some updates on what's happening next, and Rick and Chuck and Carson jump in if I miss anything. The district screening, it sounds like both Lynchburg and Culpeper have gotten through a majority of the projects here for the district screening, and so that's going to go to central office. So we're working on the state's understanding of project scope. Culpeper and Lynchburg districts, we've both of us, all the projects in this room have been validated by the district, which means that they are now to the applicants to go in and review the state's understanding of project scope and make sure you concur with those. It is really important to make sure that you're, spending time and looking at those and make sure you agree with them. Because if a project needs to change scope for any reason, that's what they're going to go back to. after a project is funded. Those do need to be completed by September 15th, but the sooner the better, if you're ready to do that.
Do you know if any of us have any outstanding?
I didn't check, I think I saw that Nelson counties had been validated. Have you gone in and done yours, Tom?
I will double check.
Okay. Jim, I didn't check.
People do are.
I didn't check, Greene County.
I checked the email that I get updated, but I haven't gone back on to see if there's anything new on the site yet.
You can just log into the portal and see if there's anything for you to review, understand your project scope.
Right, thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah. The validation is going to take place and should be done by October 31st. You guys don't have to do anything for that. And then the scoring should be done by the end of November. And the staff recommended scenario, which is the first time that you see the project scores, should be shared at the January Commonwealth Transportation Board meeting.
So the status, so if your status is processing, would the status bar, I guess, change from processing to?
I don't know what it will look like.
We'll talk after.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it will look like. But any other questions on Smart Scale? You have a meeting full of intelligent, knowledgeable people to answer them.
I think we're all happy that we submitted our projects.
Relief, right?
Yeah. All right, well, thank you, Sandy. Appreciate you running through it.
And thanks to Carson for being available at 4:30 last yesterday to coordinate.
Carson's a champion.
Yeah.
So let's go over the fun new remote participation policy.
Yeah, and I brought in Christine to do this because I'm also still familiarizing myself with it and felt like I might miss something, so.
All right. So legislation adopted by General Assembly in this last session necessitates changes to the remote electronic participation in all virtual meeting policy. In your packets were both a redlined edited version and a clean version that was adopted by the TJPDC Commission. Their original one was from September 1st, 2022. They just recently adopted the revised policy in their July Commission meeting. There are some changes in the ability to hold all virtual meetings. And so I want to make sure I clarify that if there is an in-person meeting with a quorum present in person, the rules still apply like they did before for participating electronically in an in-person meeting. The changes that I'm going to detail for you today are when you're holding an all virtual meeting. Those have changed. And so you are able to, rather than 25% of your meetings, you are limited to 2 or up to 50% of your meetings, whichever is greater, rounded to the nearest whole number. You are able to hold those as all virtual meetings. As an example, if you meet 6 times a year, you are allowed to meet at least 3 of those, a total of 3 of those, all virtual. You also cannot have virtual meetings back to back. So if you hold an all virtual meeting, your next meeting needs to be an in-person with an in-person quorum. It does have to be posted publicly if the meeting is intended to be held all virtual. Everything needs to be accessible to the public. Any materials that are shared with the committee must be shared with the public. Call-in information that's shared with the committee must be shared with the public. It does expand provisions concerning the use of audio visual. And so this one is pretty important because in order to establish a quorum in an all virtual meeting, cameras and audio have to be on in order to establish that quorum. Additionally, if cameras are then turned off, that member is considered absent from the meeting during that time. So you have to have cameras and sound on, particularly for votes. That's what's most important, is that you are seen and heard when you are putting a vote in an all person meeting. The other thing to note is that it does require now an annual adoption of the policy. Previously, it was adopt the policy and then that policy is in effect until any amendments are made. This instead, the first meeting of each fiscal year, you have to re-adopt the policy. And then you guys don't have to take any action on this because as an advisory body, you follow
the policy that was adopted by the PDC commission, which has already been done. So this is informational and I'm happy to take any questions.
So how we normally do it, like today, we have to vote, and if there's people who are participating online, like Jim, we just vote to allow them to participate. And they have to have their camera on when they're voting at a minimum, and they are limited. So is there a limit to the number of times you can participate remotely?
Yes, so if there is an in-person quorum present and someone is participating electronically, those rules are still in place. That's still, you can only participate in up to 25% for the reasons listed within the policy of illness, more than 60 miles away. You still have to state what that reason is. So those provisions have not changed. The ones that have changed are when you are now not holding an in-person meeting and you are holding your entire meeting all virtual with all members present online. Then you can hold those up to 50% of your meetings within a fiscal year. And those audio-visual rules come into play.
Okay.
So if it's all virtual, then you have to be able to be seen and heard in order to establish quorum and have any votes.
I've
Thank
been burned by the summer participants before, so I don't hate that.
Meaning that because they didn't say whether they voted or not on something.
Or, in a virtual meeting without cameras, and, oh, what do you think, Rick?
And then nothing.
Those crickets. Not that Rick's ever done that, you're the one I know up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good because there might be meetings where people just cannot come to Charlottesville to do that. And there could be meetings where we all have some kind of illness. So, I don't, typically I try to call around a little bit to see who can come, and then, we can use that accordingly. But I don't want to use them all at once, obviously.
Right.
And use them in a room.
But we should stagger them though.
Yeah, and that is something to think about, how this committee wants to use that particular opportunity. Something that came up in the MPO tech meeting this morning was talking about in meetings that are maybe more information sharing heavy.
Mhm.
Those being ones that would be really good to do virtually. I mean, that's one way to think about it.
Or snowstorm, we've been.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like maybe it's just good, to either pick January or February to say, in the off chance that there could be bad weather. So that's definitely something we can think about, and then we will definitely be communicating with the chair and the vice chair to make some of those decisions on.
I think that's a great idea for just January, February, March. Because
Well, we can just back to back though, remember?
well, hopefully there's no late storm and.
We should, actually, the only winter one is February that we have. So our meeting schedule is obviously this one here in August, then in October, December, which when we get to roundtable, we may want to talk about how we want to do December, February, April, and June.
Okay.
And since this body, barring nothing being canceled, does meet 6 times a year, you do have the option for 3.
Okay. So like holding February in reserve.
And well, it's, I think, less relevant perhaps for this advisory committee. I can say the commission, as an example, meets 10 times a year. They're allowed to hold up to 5 in an all virtual format. They are not interested in scheduling them all virtually in case there's a need for a special session. They can reserve some of their virtuals for those special sessions to accommodate for changing schedules. So just keeping that in mind.
And as far as Lynchburg district's concerned, I mean, we don't have any problem being up there. One of us, either Carson or myself, we can be in attendance. It only impacts me really in the spring when I'm coaching.
Yeah.
All right, I am, thank you very much. I'm ready to learn about safe streets for all.
Thank you. So I learned that not a lot has been shared about the Move Safe with Blue Ridge. So I'm going to start with the background a little bit. Move Safe with Blue Ridge is the region's plan to reduce road fatalities and serious injuries for all road users, no matter their choice of transportation. I want to emphasize that this is a regional project that covers all the jurisdictions within the TJPDC. Albemarle, Fluvanna, Greene, Louisa and Nelson. as well as the city of Charlottesville. So this is a grant that comes from the Safe Streets and Roads for All federal program. It's supported through the United States Department of Transportation National Roadway Safety. They use a safe system approach to reduce fatalities and serious injuries by zero. I'm going to share a little bit about the activities that we have done to date. This project's process is divided into 4 steps. The first step was identifying issues and opportunities through a survey. So during the month of June this year, we completed this step through extensive public engagement. We conducted the survey with the goal for the public to share their safety concerns on the roads and streets that they travel. So with that being said, we held 6 in-person public meetings, 1 for each jurisdiction. We held 1 virtual meeting for all jurisdictions, and then we conducted 21 pop-up events, which included attendance on farmers market, food pantries, and festivals. That was done with the help from our community champions, which I'm going to name. One of them is the Greene County Food Pantry. They conducted a survey as well, just to help us out get more outreach. The step that we're working on right now is the extraction and analysis of the survey data. So with that data, we will establish priorities based on the survey feedback that we've got. We have also begun working on step 3. That includes scheduling meetings with each jurisdictions based on the high injury networks to identify site visits where we can attend and discuss the opportunities for safety improvement. These 3 steps will lead to the development of the safety action plan. I do want to ask for help for our next round of engagement. Specifically for outreach, we will have another public engagement round. I believe it's going to be sometime in late October. So we will reach out to each of the jurisdictions to make sure that we can get some help in spreading the word. I would be happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you. I still look at me.
So basically we're getting the word out, we're collecting information, and yeah, I'm happy. We have Louisa County has a public relations individual. We have Cindy King is the person who can definitely help get the word out. Yes, ma'am.
I didn't run too
Good.
I was raising my hand like you said. Yeah, but just to emphasize on what Brian was saying, like we heard from Sandy, safety is the #1 priority of the US DOT. So this project is very, very important, and we're looking forward to having it all hands on deck. Yeah, we have been already in touch with Cindy King and Louisa County this time around.
Great.
With them, and so we really, really, really need. Oh, no.
It's been a really interesting project to watch progress.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Thank you guys for all your work on it.
Yes.
Yeah, ultimately, the goal is for everybody to come together to kind of tackle this because, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but safety is a #1 priority. So we need the public and decision makers to all come and know.
The qualitative data part's been interesting.
I would be happy to do a formal presentation in the future.
Yes, we would love to have that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, round table.
Before we get into roundtable, just real briefly and informally, I had promised Tom, brownies for his birthday when we were gonna meet in July, and I didn't want to go back on my word, so there are brownies in the bag.
They are the best food for
If you would like to grab one as we get into roundtable discussions, so.
And I also brought garden vegetables too, so I kept my promise as well.
I was curious about the tomatoes.
Yeah.
I know I came in late, but I missed something related.
Even that presentation, I didn't think that fully out. Tomatoes early, so.
You're also welcome to get one on your way out, whatever you feel more comfortable with. And yeah, so we can start roundtable whenever.
Mr. Chair, can I interject really quick, just based on? I think it was Rick, online. Rick, were you just saying something about can get someone to the meeting in person? I want to make sure that I didn't misstate or confuse anybody. If there is an in-person meeting, you are still allowed to use the exemption related to the 60 miles distance, and that's unlimited. So that doesn't, if you look in the policy, the 25% and the 50% don't apply to that provision. So I didn't want you to misunderstand, or if I misstated that now you needed to be coming in person and you were not previously.
No, it's not a problem. I was just saying we'll support you guys however however it's necessary. If we need to have somebody there, we can. If not, like I said, between two of us, one of us can be there.
Since we're on the topic, to make sure that we're within the bylaws of the policy, Jim was unable to make the meeting today because he had conflicting meetings around this time. Jim, would you agree that that's the reason for your remote participation?
That is correct, Tom. Thank you very much.
For the record. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think what's really unique about this is there actually has to be an in-person forum present in order to then allow anybody electronically to participate in the in-person meeting.
Interesting.
And so unless there is an established forum, that's really, I mean, you can have people state their reason for participating electronically, but it's not like you're voting them into the ability to vote in the meeting.
Gotcha.
Since we're recording things for the record, Sarah and Tom did an excellent job making sure that was met yesterday.
Thank you. Round table. I'll go ahead and start. I am Louisa County's newest Deputy Director of Community Development, and I've also been, the Board of Supervisors has passed a resolution making Deputy Zoning Minister. So there's some new news out of that. We have a new director. We unfortunately lost Josh Gillespie to the County of Goochland. I wish him only the best. We did pass solar cap down to 2% from 3%. And I am working with members of the Planning Commission on focus areas of the comprehensive plan, which are really around our growth areas. So that is something from a planning standpoint we're working on. And of course, talking about focus area, transportation always comes up. I'm sure there'll be more to come in the next meeting. That's all I have for Louisa.
And Nelson, let's see, next week, we're having our joint kickoff session with the Board and Planning Commission for our zoning and subdivision ordinance updates. So that is exciting. We have had our first utility scale solar application come through. It's been to the Planning Commission. It's about 500 panels, 500 acres of panels, 90 megawatts. Planning Commission recommended denial, so the board will hear that in November. The Livingston sewer project kicked off today. So they're replacing, I think, 8,000 linear feet of clay pipe in Livingston. And that'll go along with the revitalization project for the sidewalks, I'm sure. Something.
Is that increasing capacity too?
I believe so. Cool. I believe so. I don't know a ton about it, but something interesting for the group. Recently, we had a proposed subdivision and an existing development off the Blue Ridge Parkway. So as a result, I met virtually with the superintendents of both the Blue Ridge Parkway and Appalachian Trail because both are a part of it. So our county subdivision ordinance requirement is a 50-foot wide right of way all the way back to the public road to subdivide, which can prevent some subdivisions. So in this case, there's a National Park Service easement that's only 14 feet wide off the parkway. And I learned a lot talking to them, but their, main goal is to extinguish as much access as possible off the parkway. So legally, federally, they cannot grant anymore width or access off the parkway. So that kind of shut that down. So that was interesting to learn about, their mission and everything. So, and then of course I have to give my plug for Rural Planning Caucus. That's October 16th through the 18th. It's a Mountain Lake Lodge. It's a great time. We have sessions on, AI and planning, rural transportation, VDOT funding streams, zoning enforcement, ethics, legal sessions, lightning rounds. We do a group hike. So I have music, we have a silent auction.
I think I will also.
Yeah, we'll be there. Yeah, did you just make your decision based on that?
I didn't, but that definitely helped. Yeah.
A good time.
I'm registered.
Yeah. So if you haven't got your room yet, there might still be some left in the lodging block. Absolutely. So I'm on the committee for that. So if you have questions or anything, let me know. Wonderful.
Thank you.
I'll do a quick update just because you're looking at me. I don't know if it was said earlier, sorry, I came in late. I had another meeting butting right up to this one, but Sarah is officially going to be the staff member for RTAC. I don't know if she shared that.
I did not, I'm sorry, I forgot myself.
I agreed to do it in the interim during staff transition, and then we all agreed that it was a really good fit and that she was gracious to take it on.
Yeah, so your staff.
And then also, Orion Gordievsky will be moving into the lead staff role for the MPO technical committee.
Okay.
And we'll be moving more into transportation and planning. He previously was working on the body broadband massive grant that we received. And in an effort to make sure we can keep him after that grant goes away, and with his passion and interest in transportation, he's going to move into that spot. And then also Sarah Simba will be the lead staff member for the MPO policy board, as well as the Citizens Transportation Advisory Committee. So this will be our primary transportation planning staff, with a plug still out there that we have the director position still vacant.
Congratulations to all of you. That's excellent.
And I'll add, if anyone has anyone looking for admin work, we have a position open that we desperately need. So
Like within planning or just within?
So it's a shared position between building inspections and planning and zoning. It starts at like 43, so I think it's a good job.
Well, since we're plugging job openings. I'm looking for a planner, so.
Don't take any money.
Deal until start making some different.
Yeah, I think you're like, I'll let you know there's a form report.
Oh, I worked it.
Is it full time, the administrative position?
It is, yes.
And then you said planner.
And VDOT's hiring too, right?
VDOT's always hiring, but I don't think the full number district is hiring planners.
I'll go ahead and finish Sandy and Chuck might have something too, the roundtable for in person, and that RideShare is, starting new fiscal year FY 25 while also wrapping up all of the last. It's always a very interesting couple of months there at the beginning. Big thing is we are getting close to finishing our CAP strategic plan, which CAP stands for Commuter Assistance Program. Hopefully we'll have some of that to potentially share with you guys, maybe at the October meeting, maybe the December meeting, shooting for October, but worst case scenario, we'll definitely get some of that draft in front of you guys for any additional input on that as well. And basically it's looking at, overall transportation options throughout the region, how we partner with CSPDC since we are both the RideShare brand, target markets, and how we will be looking to reach them in the next 5 years to, work on congestion and decrease the amount of single occupancy vehicles is kind of the main goal of that.
Thank you.
Well, Chuck and Rick and Carson can jump in as well, but I think the big probably updates from VDOT, the Culpeper District, is that we're currently looking at our next round of study locations for stars. And potentially we can start vetting locations for pipeline as part of that review as well. So we may be reaching out to some of you all to gauge your interest in certain locations to undertake the next set of studies on. Any other VDOT folks want to add anything?
The only thing I would add is we've got, we'll probably be reaching out to all the localities to talk about possible revenue share and TAP for next year also to see if you've got any locations you want assistance with developing for those applications.
Jan, what you got going on in Greene?
Yeah, so transportation wise, we have a few interesting things. We have a development that is in the rural area adjacent to and surrounding the town of Standardsville. And they are interested in a right in, right out exit entrance on the limited access part of Route 33. The Board of Supervisors voted down a resolution of support. So the developer and actually the town are appealing directly to the CTB to ask for approval of the entrance because it would be a significant amount of traffic that would pretty much bog down the current intersections and Main Street in town. And it would be a traffic safety issue not to have that additional exit. It's likely to get approved, although you never know when you go through a governing body what their choice will be. But the board originally voted against the resolution because they thought it would stop a by right housing development. And that didn't turn out very well for them. So note of interest, kind of a fun neighborhood development. We have a development that's going in adjacent to the Pretty Creek Park area of Albemarle County. And they have dedicated a little over 2 miles worth of hiking trails to the community. And, there's possibilities in the future, whether formally through agreement with Albemarle County or informally because neighbors aren't going to stop if there's 10 feet of separation between one trail and another. There'd be a larger interconnected trail network in that area. So kind of a fun multimodal opportunity. And then lastly, the Board of Supervisors approved local administration of a project. It's a round 2 smart scale project. There's some things that have changed with the development in that area. And so the board wants to look at local administration to try to achieve some different innovative intersections that fit better with the county plans than the original plan. So a lot of exciting things going on, a lot of paperwork, not enough time.
Thank you, Jim. I'll add on to my recap is the Love's Travel Center rezoning conditional use permit and special exception application on the Gum Springs exit is scheduled for the September 3rd Board of Supervisors meeting. Planning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend denial of that application to the Board of Supervisors in August.
Transportation related thing. Everyone might already know this, but in Nelson, a lot of the community gets concerned about speed limits a lot, so we get asked a lot about that. Robert Brown informed our board at our meeting last week because some legislation was passed that allows locality oversight of speed limits. So I learned that it's only if it is marked 25 miles per hour, then you can go down to 20 or 15. So that's the only case
Where the local can control the speed.
where the locality is supposed to be. So for us, that's not gonna make a whole lot of difference because a lot of those are unposted, but I just thought it was good.
I appreciate that. Does anybody else have anything to share at a round table? I don't think we had anybody join from the public. Is there any other matter we'd like to discuss before we have a motion to adjourn?
Any topics that you guys are interested in having covered in October or December? And think about right now, the December meeting, I believe, is technically falls on 17th, I think. Let me just double check. Am I correct?
That's what I've got.
Yes. I don't know if that is too close to the holidays. If you guys have any thoughts or feelings on that, certainly happy to keep it where it is. Or if you feel like, you know, due to attendance, it's best to move it.
If we have to choose between December and February,
Yeah, that's also true. It also could be a virtual meeting, so.
I don't know.
I think we should try to keep it, and then we could, like, you and I could work on,
Sure.
you could work on this area, and I'll work on the rural counties, and we'll combine together and see if we have enough for a quorum.
Okay,
Because
sounds good.
I agree, we should save all of our
Mhm.
online uses, especially for the months of February for this stuff, so. Never gonna need it. And, topics, I'm always coming up with topics.
I haven't forgotten the ones that we talked about last time. I know there was some discussion about truck stops and how those are figured out for the queue and how many they can accommodate. Looking for information on that to figure out who may be able to address and help us with that. So I haven't forgotten.
Thank you.
But I haven't found a person just yet either, so.
And I think that, especially with the number of buckies that are coming throughout the state of
Right.
Virginia, I think it would be interesting to have a topic if somebody could tell us, you know, this is what we've learned from these applications coming in. That would be a good topic. And then I will tell you that there are 10 truck parking spaces at the VDOT rest area, the way between Gum Springs and Short Pump,
Mhm.
that I counted.
Okay.
And 10 on either side of the interstate. Marked, not including the ones that are made.
Sure. Right.
But I did my own little survey, obviously. And does anybody have any just topic ideas or things that are going on in their community they'd like to share?
The other informational item, I think that we brought up, just because it was such a good presentation to the, Land Use Environmental Planning Committee with VDOT, Charlottesville, and Albemarle is the rail.
Yes, I did have that on the list.
State rail,
Yeah.
plans for, I think that would be really interesting information.
Yes, very much would like to hear about that. Because I think, you know, the Buckingham branch CSX line runs through Louisa County, and I would love to know what the RTAC is planning. And then we could probably get a summary of the rural planning caucus. What tips and facts. And-
Come to the conference.
Yeah, that was a good plug too. You could give us like the free trial version. And then if you want more, you have to.
We also have like a mentor scholarship program, so we'll cover registration if you want to bring.
Okay.
And I'm really with you.
Okay.
Is that true?
No, this is really.
Oh.
Will we have any information from Safe Streets for all to talk about? Will there be any updates or?
I think that you read my mind because between now and October, we are engaging with all localities, mainly discussing what's the best way to communicate with you, what are the best ways to engage in your community, what are the processes inside. So keeping everybody in the loop, I mean, it could be a good time to give an update because we're really expecting as the project team and our consultants to have you inside being engaged.
Okay.
Compared to the first round, second round, we are expecting this language of this project to be like internally absorbed. So we're communicating with Cindy Kings, but then from Cindy Kings, who on Cindy Kings is also involved on your side of the project. So I think, if I'm making sense.
So I think it'd be really good to have this is how we're tackling this from a outreach. This is what we've done, like, you know, we've gone from this person to this person, led to other people, and how we've gotten the word out. It's part of that, and then because the reason I bring that up is, some of us are approaching 5 years of our comprehensive plan, and others are working into it, so this is a huge project that y'all are endeavoring on. Would love to learn anything we can get out of it from a public involvement standpoint that we can then use for our own comp plan updates or focus areas. So I think even a 5-10 minute presentation would be helpful.
Yeah, I think,
Put you on a seat there.
yeah, I think by, mid-October, we'll have more information than we do now, especially after those site visits are done. We can definitely plan for a presentation then.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned, at least from Love's Travel Center, is that, you know, certain projects will get certain groups of people together in certain areas of your locality, and you start to learn who those people are that are very active. And I think that just comes, I mean, you probably know as well that certain projects lead to meeting different individuals that know a lot more people. And that could be key to it as well, is that we as RTAC members should start collecting groups of individuals that if we have a project from the PJC or just internally, that we can share this internally, like, this person was from this project, but you can reach out to them, be happy to help. So,
I definitely had a few citizens emerge out of the comp plan process who expressed their interest to remain in the loop on things going on that they can relay back to their community.
and then maybe we get, maybe there's a form, right, I'm not trying to create, or maybe a very quick Word document where we could, get blessed from our own localities to share with these individuals. Go, would you like to fill this out and be on the list for the TJPDC? For anything we do going forward, and we just bring those to our comp plan meetings, or if we know we have a case with 100 people.
Yeah.
And they tell, well, hey, you also, so maybe that's a way that we can, going forward, help us and help you at the same time with public involvement.
But by design, the Safe Streets and Roads for All was intended to utilize community champions.
Yes.
Is what they're called. And that's exactly what you guys are talking about. It's the folks that are already connected to groups of people that may not be showing up to our pop-ups or our, public meetings, but we can still be getting, vetted feedback like community members.
Exactly, because the people coming out for Loves aren't necessarily talking about Safe Streets for All. They're concerned about the interstate Gum Springs exit. So I think there'd be an opportunity to cross those lines. So yeah.
Right.
Look what we've accomplished in such a short amount of time. Does that give you enough, or do we need to?
I think so. And, as you think of things, or if you think of things, always please feel free to reach out to me as the staff person for this group, or really any of us at the BDC.
Anybody online have anything to add? I'll give a long pause. Well, I'd like to thank all of you for not throwing the tomatoes during the meeting today. Next time I'll give them out after the meeting. I motion to adjourn. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, everyone, see y'all next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you all.